Crocheting 101, How to Crochet for Complete Beginners. Brought to you by Club Crochet and produced by Louie's Loops. That's me. How to crochet a sphere. Now that we know how to increase and decrease, we can make spheres, which we can turn into heads for amigurumi or hacky sacks. The materials that you'll need are some worsted weight yarn, a size G 4mm crochet hook, some scissors and a needle, and whatever you're going to stuff it with. I'm using dried beans to make it a hacky sack. You also might need a funnel for pouring the beans in, but if you don't have one, just cut a toilet paper roll in half and use that. And here are the stitches that you'll need to know how to make, and their abbreviations. The chain stitch, the single crochet, the increase, the decrease, and either the invisible decrease or the single crochet 2 together. Either of these will work. I'm using the invisible decrease. Quick note, this pattern is worked in the round, so we don't have to turn for the entire project. Make sure to use stitch markers so you know where the rounds begin and end. Okay, to get started, instead of using the chain 2 method that we did in our last project for a coaster, let's learn something new, the magic loop method. If you don't want to use this, then simply chain 2 and work 6 single crochets into the second chain from the hook. Magic loops are just an alternative way to get started crocheting in the round, but they have their benefits, primarily that they make a really tight hole in the beginning, which is going to be really useful here since we'll be stuffing it and don't want our stuffing to be falling out. To make the magic loop method, wrap the yarn around your index finger 3 times, holding the end attached to the ball in your bottom 3 fingers and the tail end between your middle and ring finger. Insert the hook under the first 2 loops and yarn over using the 3rd loop. Pull this through the first 2 loops, yarn over, and pull through again, basically making a chain around the first 2 loops. You can now pull it off of your finger and work a single crochet around the 2 loops. Make the rest of the stitches you'll need for round 1. In this case, 6 single crochets total, so we need 5 more. Pull the top loop, which should tighten the bottom loop. Make it as tight as you think you'll need. And pull the tail to tighten the top loop. Our first round is already done. Now we'll continue as you normally would by working our next stitches into the first single crochet we made. But be sure to work around this tail end to hide it, and make sure that the magic loop doesn't come undone. It might be kind of tough to get into that first single crochet, so be patient. For round 2, like our coaster, we'll increase in each stitch around, making 12 stitches total. Once you've worked around the tail for a few stitches, you can cut it close to the piece to hide the end. For round 3, again like the coaster, single crochet into the first stitch, and then increase, repeating that 6 times total, and ending up at 18 stitches around. Now we're going to mix things up. We want our sphere to gradually become bigger rather than having a flat top and bottom. To do that, for round 4, we'll just single crochet into each stitch around. This pulls the stitches in to make them go straight up for a round. You should have 18 stitches total by the end of this round. For round 5, we'll increase again, single crocheting into the first 2 stitches and then increasing, repeating that 6 times total and ending up at 24 stitches around. Alright, I think this is big enough for your piece. Now we want to give it some height before decreasing. To do that, we'll simply single crochet into each stitch around for 3 rounds. So for rounds 6, 7, and 8, just single crochet into each stitch. There should be 24 stitches for each round. Now we can start decreasing, but we want to decrease gradually like we did for our increases. To do that, we're going to either use the invisible decrease or the single crochet 2 together. I'll be using the invisible decrease. For round 9, we want to do the opposite of our last increasing round, round 5. To do that, we'll single crochet 2 and then invisible decrease 1 and repeat that 6 times total. This will bring us down from 24 stitches to 18 stitches. If you don't remember, for an invisible decrease, we insert our hook into the front loops of the next 2 stitches and then work a single crochet into those loops. We're basically working in reverse now, so for round 10, we'll do a single crochet into each stitch around. There should be 18 stitches total. Now we want to get down from 18 stitches to 12 stitches. So for round 11, we single crochet 1 and then invisible decrease 1, repeating 6 times total. For our final round, we really want to pull the stitches in to make it really flat. To do that, I'll be using a sharp decrease, which I just call a decrease. If you don't remember, to do a decrease, pull a loop through the next stitch, and then a loop through the next stitch, and pull that second loop through both the loops on the hook. We'll be making a decrease in each stitch around, 6 times total. This will bring us from 12 stitches to 6 stitches, the same as what we started with. After finishing your last decrease, you can cut the yarn and just pull it all the way through to finish it up. Before sewing it closed, we need to stuff it. Oh, and now is when you might want to add your eyes or mouth if you're making amigurumi. For regular polyfill stuffing that you'd find at a craft store or in your old pillows, we'll use the eraser end of a pencil and push it into the ball. I'm going to be stuffing mine with beans though, to make it a hacky sack. You'll probably need a funnel for this part, but if you don't have one, use a toilet paper roll cut in half. Gently pour the beans into the ball. Try not to overstuff it. You want a little bit of a give when you squeeze it. Now that it's stuffed, let's sew it closed. Here are our final 6 stitches, and this one is the last hole from the round before the final round. You'll be using this hole too. We're going to number them to make it easier. Our final stitches will be 1 through 6, and this other hole will be 0. Thread the needle and start by going into the top of stitch 3. Across and back out through 0. Pull it somewhat tight, but I'd avoid pulling the loops too tight until the end because the stitches are going to get pulled together and it can be kind of confusing on where you're going to go next. Now go down into 4, across, and out of 1. Then into 5 and out of 2. You can pull the whole thing tight now and finish up by going into stitch 6. Poke the end out of the side of the piece. You can either cut it here or go back down through the bottom. This should keep your piece closed, but if you're nervous about it opening up, make a knot at the end. I'm going to knot it since I'll probably be kicking it around a lot, and it might come loose otherwise. Now poke the tail end into the piece again through a random stitch on the side and cut it close to the piece. There we go. Now you can play a bit of hacky sack or use the same pattern for making the head for a little amigurumi guy. Crocheting 101's home, clubcrochet.com, was created by my awesome friends over at Market House. Not only did they build out the amazing membership and online courses website, but they mentored and advised me along the way, and I so much appreciate them for that. Grow your brand and build your business with Market House, specializing in web design and digital marketing. Check them out at mkt.house. Thank you so much for watching. Crocheting 101 was independently created by me, Louie, with the support from my more than awesome Kickstarters that you can see on the screen now. This project took a really long time to complete, so if you liked it, please let me know by liking the video down below and subscribing and following Louie's Loops on any social media. Alright, when you're ready to move on, check out the next chapter down below or on the screen now. Pasta la pizza and happy hooking!